You know, Samson, whilst others think that you shouldn't even talk, some also say that they want information. They want to know why we are here, what are we doing, and what we intend to do to solve the problem. I think that it's good that I came here. At least we are in charge, we must solve it. But you must also build public support. You must carry the people along. Because all of us have agreed that, look, you can't eat your cake and have it. To solve some of these problems, you must take tough decisions. For instance, if you want to make ECG efficient, it means that almost everybody must pay for his lives. If you go to the University of Ghana, the private hostels pay for the lives they use. The traditional hostels do not. So we are taking steps to get the traditional hostels to pay. There's a lot of agitation on campus. Some decision would have to be taken. And so we must explain to people and bring them on. Street lights alone accounts for 105 megawatts in the system. We started the process of changing all the street lights to LED bulbs. That could give us about 80 megawatts in the system. That alone would deal with industry. We are working towards bringing the already existing plants back into the system. The problem we are having is poor hydrology. You really cannot do much about it. If there's no water in Akosomo, if there's no water in Bui, it's difficult. But if TICO is down, if Senate is running at half capacity, you can do something to bring them down. And as I talk to you, engineers from GE and with our engineers at TICO working to bring on the TICO plant. And they indicate that within a couple of days, they should be able to bring it back. Okay. It significantly reduces the problem and even saves us some money. Okay. Because then it means that we can use the gas from Atuabo. Okay. Don't forget that Atuabo plant is also contributing.
I think we can end this discussion
it's contributing here. Something.
We can end this discussion here so we can make a lot of progress here also. So, sorry, but let's move on. Okay. And the audit reports that I was referring to, this is the performance audit report on extension of electricity to 1,200 communities in Ghana. And I'm sure that you're familiar, Abdul Malik Kubako, with this story already. Now, the issue that has come up is page 13 of the report, where it says that the ministry acquired vehicles and office equipment worth 1,000, is it 1,000? 1.796,916.41 dollars from the Turkey project. The ministry has to date acquired 38 vehicles, 2 photocopiers, and 7 computers from the Turkey contract for extension of electricity to rural communities. And it brings the details here. What has become curious and has attracted attention is the purchase of luxury vehicles, Lexus LX 570, 4 of them, and also Chrysler 300, 3 of them. The purchase of vehicles, all of that, went to the price that I've just quoted to you above, and the auditors had a number of things to say. They say that the audit team found no budget for the purchase of the vehicles and office equipment in the details of the contracts, and also that a number of things that seem to indict the ministry for some of these purchases. Abdul Malik, so the question that has come up is that we are just wasteful, and that is why we have the problems we have.
Well, I'm not an expert in this area, but purchase of vehicles for projects of some nature is not unusual.
That's correct.
It's not abnormal. So that is clear. But the nature of the project also can determine the specifications of the vehicles that you ought to buy and the purpose they will serve. Off my mind, I'm not convinced that purchase of these luxurious vehicles, is it the Chrysler and Lexus,
yes,
fit into the nature of the project that we are talking about. So I think there's a problem there that ought to be explained. But my difficulty has arisen out of the kind of answers, explanations, and rationalizations that government spokespersons have given. The Energy Ministry spokesperson, and then I think the Energy Ministry itself issued a statement. And I've gone through it, and it's problematic. It lacks integrity. It suffers some level of dishonesty. And that, for me, is what worries me. See, we are told that the vehicles form part of a $350 million U.S. Exim Bank facility for rural electrification. This is very misleading statement. It's a misleading statement.
It's a Chrysler, I think.
Oh, it's a Chrysler.
Yeah. Yes, for those of you watching, we are showing you pictures of Chrysler. We'll bring you some Lexus. Just take a look at them. How these fit for project inspection. That's the question. So go on.
Okay, that's a good point. I see your point. The negotiations, we are told, started in 2007 and was passed by Parliament in 2008. This is again misleading. Which negotiations? Is it negotiations to purchase a vehicle? The focal point here is purchase of some particular vehicles that had no budget line or that had no approval. Now, this statement left on its own, because see, what began in 2007, and this loan, it came in two forms. It was first approved 14th December 2007. But that particular loan was rescinded subsequently, and a new one put in place, and that was approved on the 15th August 2008. Okay, it came in two levels. Now, what was approved is the loan agreement, not purchase of vehicles. We should draw that extension. Purchase of vehicles and those things come quite late. When you are getting to implementation stage, when you sit down and know, you ask yourself which things you want.
It's normally embedded.
No, it's never stated.
No, what I'm saying is that it comes as part of... Okay,
yeah,
I'm
but
sorry,
it is not stated. Because we have been told by the ministry that there was a cabinet approval for the purchase of the vehicles in 2007 or 2008. That's a lie. In fact, sorry, that's an obvious untruth.
Why are you apologizing?
What's the difference?
No, it's too harsh. The first one is too harsh.
Who said that?
A lie is a lie is a lie.
Indeed, I heard Bauer say so. And in this government statement itself, that's why I say they are playing a trick on our minds. It says negotiations started in 2007 and was passed by Parliament in 2008. What does this mean? Are we talking here
For the
of
contract? The contract.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
But what was the
entire
focus?
contract.
No, but the focus is on the purchase of the vehicles. Go to it. And that is where they've told us that cabinet approved that. That's not true. I have challenged government to provide documentary proof of that so-called cabinet approval. It doesn't exist. Okay? So now, this one, the said vehicles had been negotiated by the NPP ministers as part of the package, because under the facility, the U.S. Exim Bank loan, the vehicle component could only be used to buy American-made vehicles. Key point, the vehicles, negotiations for the vehicles was never done by the NPP administration or any of its ministers. It's not true. That's a lie. Or, better put, obvious untruth. And incidentally, Mr. Ada has issued a statement. I'm sure you've seen the statement.
The former energy minister.
Yes,
under the Kufuor administration.
Denying the attributions made to him and Katie Hammond that they had admitted on air that they indeed negotiated. That it would have been an irregular situation. This letter for commencement of this project was given somewhere in 2010. So 2007, ministers were negotiating the purchase of a vehicle for a project that had not taken off. Then they tell us, Dr. Otinaji, minister, in 2009, did the value for money audit on the cost of the project when he assumed office as energy minister in 2009 and saved the nation about $50 million, which translated into more communities having access to the electricity. Here too, they are economical with the truth. The audit process began under the Kufuor administration. Indeed, a letter dated 23rd October 2008 was sent to Crown agents inviting them for the audit. The interim value for money audit report was presented 29th December 2008. After the Ministry of Finance had supplied extra documents on 3rd December 2008. So the first level of negotiations began 6th January 2009. See, I found out something interesting. Why they had been doing, and they had said this thing for years, for the last 3-4 years, about the audit report was done by them, exclusive credit. See, I found this document. This is the contract. Attached to it is the value for money audit and ordered a bill of quantities. It's all here. When I checked through, I realized that they had removed a certain page from the final contract, which is here. You see Atani signature and everything. Now, if you move to page 10, summary of outcome of VFM negotiations. Value for money negotiations. Fortunately for me, I had intercepted this document, this final minutes of the value for money negotiations way back. See, this page is missing. I don't know, he may explain why they decided to remove that particular page.
No, nothing was removed.
Oh, but I have it.
Go ahead. Just
do it slowly so that he can come in.
See, if nothing was removed, then they should have been fair with the facts and truthful with the facts. If you read this historical background, this is not part of the document that Atani has signed with the contractor. This is missing. This will tell you that Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning requested Crown agents by a letter dated 23rd October 2008 to conduct a value for money audit on the contract dated 25th April 2006 between the Ministry of Energy and Wealthy Lamont Associates. It goes down that an interim value for money report was issued on the project on 29th December 2008, following the submission of additional documents by the Ministry of Finance on 3rd December 2008. I'm saying this one, I don't know who did it, but this is, if he has a copy there, he should bring his copy. And let's see if this page 2.
You may not know who did it, but the time it was done is instructive.
Yes, yes. I'm not, in fact, I said I don't know.
Okay.
But it's not here. But if it is there, then I'm wondering why, when they were doing the public communication, they failed to acknowledge the genesis of the value for money audit. Because you know why? Right in 2010, they actually accused the NPP of overpricing. First of all, they said overpricing the loan, which was an absurdity. When they were challenged, they said, oh, the NPP had bloated the contract, and that they put in place a value for money audit and brought it down, they had a gain of $70 million. That is why this page, its omission from here is of significance. Because if you have this page, you would realize that no, then there's a history to the value.
The allegations you are making are criminal.
Well, I'm not accusing anybody.
That he has intercepted.
No, but I'm saying that even forget that document. Why is it that in their public communication, they fail to acknowledge that the value for money audit began at a certain date consistently, even in the official statement? No, even in your official statement. No, but even in your official statement, and 2010 to today, in all your official statements, you have credited Atani exclusively with the genesis of the value for money audit. But I'm saying that's a lie. Or if you like, better put, obvious untruth.
I see. No, hold on. So, hold on. Now, tell us, how did this all happen? The auditors, first of all, suggest that in the procurement of vehicles and office equipment under this contract, the decision to purchase did not go through the stringent processes that guarantee prudent spending. They didn't go through Parliament. They speak of all other processes that it has to go through. They say all of this
Parliament gave approval
did not
to
go
the
through.
arrangement. Because I want to make a point from
yes.
Yeah,
although Parliament gave approval to the Turkey arrangement,
read it to the
through
end.
A resolution. Through a resolution. The vehicle and office equipment were not in the proposal which was sent to Parliament for approval.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. You see, first of all, I think that
And this is the
we are nitpicking. That is my opinion. I think that we are nitpicking. You see, I think that we should approach it from a broader perspective. I can appreciate, maybe because of Kwaku's communication skills, he can look into it and say that you should have given credit to this person or that person. That is not an issue. This is a 350 million contract for rural electrification, which commenced the negotiations under the MPP administration. We came in, took it up, continued with the process, and by 30th July, we completed with the value for money audit. And
when did it begin? When did the value for money audit begin?
I'm saying that the MPP commenced. You see, that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't nitpick. If we want to do nitpicking,
okay, he's saying that so far this has been missing in the story, and the credit has been given fully
and that's
to
a fact.
The minister in the NDC.
If we want to go there,
with the political hint that there was an attempt to block
all the minutes in terms of the auditing and everything.
I have all here.
And we'll see who has.
I have all here. It's here.
Okay.
All the minutes are here.
It's simple as that.
All
Want
the
to do
minutes
that.
are here. There's nothing industrial secret about this.
Where we had to use red pen to rule out.
But that's value for money audit.
Let's stick with the issue.
It's here. All the minutes are here. This is final minutes.
Let's be careful not to fall into that temptation to obscure the
issue of the negotiations. I mean,
they are all here.
Okay,
the people who did the negotiation, they are all listed here.
That there was a letter on the 3rd of December.
I'm saying it was a condition precedent.
The value for money audit was a
condition precedent.
Okay, gentlemen, we have limited time, so let's deal with it.
As minister, we negotiated with them, commenced negotiation with them, and brought
the negotiation began 6 January 2009. 6 January 2009.
You hand over the following.
What he's saying is that he simply inherited what they had initiated.
Admit it, and let's move on.
That is what I said. That's why I said we are nitpicking.
Okay.
Move on,
John. Just
this is the first time there's an official admission.
Audit. We have always been consistent. We saved about 50 million. Now, most of these contracts, and in different ministries at different sectors. First of all, you need a project implementation office and a project implementation unit. For a contract the magnitude of $350 million, you will certainly have to set up a project implementation unit with officers, with logistics, and all that.
You're not addressing the issue.
No, you take it easy.
I'm surprised that.
Go on, make your point.
Interest is what somebody is supposed to have said on air. I am looking at it from a broader picture. So if you allow me to build my point,
my brother,
I think that you will appreciate it.
Yes. Forgive me.
So for such a project, you would require some vehicles.
I can see all of you are looking at your time. You're looking at your watches.
I am clear in my mind that,
okay.
Unless, of course, Kwaku wanted to disagree with me, is that there will be nothing wrong with purchasing vehicles for such a project.
In principle, yes.
It's criminal. It was criminal.
No.
The pictures of the
let him go. Let him go on.
Vehicles.
So we make progress. When did he become a judge?
You know what you guys do. So why are you allowing him to take you away from
he's taking
your
his own
points?
time. I just hope that you continue discounting my time with the filibustering and the unnecessary heckling. So, and I've said that it is done. I can give you several projects where out of the project, you take advantage of that. One, to beef the stock of the ministry. Two, most of the equipment that are used for the project implementation, even upon completion, they revert to the ministry. So there's, for me, it's not an issue. The other issue has to do with the make, because that has been an issue. That why would you buy a Lexus vehicle? And our position is that once you are taking the loan from the US of A, they would always insist that as much as possible, buy those equipment from their account.
So
no, the type of car.
Tied in. I'm coming there. Where's it? I'm coming.
The type, the
I'm
specification.
The point. If you allow me, I would have finished by now.
This is the conclusion of the auditors. Although the ministry asserted that the vehicles were for supervision and should be of American make. Vehicles, for example, Lexus L270, 570, and Chrysler 300 models are too expensive and luxurious for monitoring the project.
Simple.
Can I make my progress? So what I did was, when you mentioned the figure, I quickly did some calculation with my tab. 0.4% of the contract value is what we used to purchase the vehicles. On the average, a vehicle cost $44,000. On the average, if you were to strike an average.
The type of vehicle.
A vehicle cost $44,000 on the average.
Yeah.
And this is mathematics.
Yes.
I just did some arithmetic
Yes.
to arrive at this conclusion. Now, what constitutes a low-end vehicle from within the USA?
And finish up
Is
in
it
2 minutes. Yeah.
the Lexus? Is it the Chrysler? Is it the Ford? And what vehicles did they expect that we buy for those monitoring, for those moving around? So, for me, I think that
For rural
the
electrification.
debate, yes, for rural electrification. If you ask me
Not
to
for
go,
the minister's use.
if you ask me to go as minister to inspect electrification projects, I'm very much concerned about my safety.
You
go with the
you don't have
Lexus.
official vehicle?
Come and find out how many of them have official vehicles before we begin to draw these conclusions. That is the challenge. That is a major challenge. Other than that, you wouldn't even need vehicles. All you do is that use all the money for the project and monitor with your own vehicles. If the ministry had the resources, if the ministry had the vehicles, if the ministry had all those machinery, there would simply be no need to purchase vehicles. It is because the ministry did not have that capacity.
Type of vehicle.
And sometimes, even out of these projects, we resource NETCO, we resource VRA. So for me, don't get the fuss about it and the splitting of heads here and there.
Really?
Is
So
it that
you disagree with the auditors because they disagree with you?
auditors are not always right?
Okay.
When auditors give their opinion, you are allowed to challenge that.
That is the
And so let's
earlier,
get that right.
before the
Auditors
final
are
report.
not-
Otherwise,
even the
PAC.
final report,
PAC.
even the final
You
report,
go to
you can
PAC.
challenge it.
It
It takes your comments, and you might even have the opportunity to come and say that, look, my comments were not fairly represented. And so let's get that right. But I am saying that is the position the case that if you have a project, you cannot use the project to beef up the stock or the fleet. Or two, if you have such a project and you are taking it to Parliament, you must bring every detail that we are buying this number of vehicles, this number of make, even though we've not done the value for money audit, even though we've not gone into the details of it. Or Parliament will say that as supervisors, we are approving it.
The contractor
But-
had already purchased 34 vehicles.
I don't understand what you mean.
Okay,
Before
that's
the
what-
value
that-
for money audit.
No, you're talking about needing the vehicles to
Yes.
help these entities, after the project. And I'm saying the contractor had already purchased 37 vehicles. And as we understand, they purchased it using the ministry granting them the exemptions that they deserved, tax exemption at the port and all.
See, I have moved on to bring some critical issues for our consideration.
Okay.
And I thought that, for me, that should be the most important fulcrum of this whole discussion. One, if you are doing a project of this magnitude, are you allowed to purchase vehicles?
No.
Two, if you are taking a project of this sum to Parliament for rural electrification, must you necessarily list all the details that these are the vehicles we want to buy?
It's not done that
These
way.
are the,
Okay.
Thank you.
It is.
Right.
Three.
Right.
Thank
Hold
you
on,
very
hold
much.
on.
Please,
Just hold on, just hold on.
If
No, he's telling you directly that you're wrong.
is.
who says so?
I'm telling
No.
you.
No, ask because it says yes.
Show,
and says no.
show us how exactly, demonstrate that to us. Why you say,
The project will come with a bill of quantities indicating the items you will need to execute the project. On this occasion, there was attached to the contract that Parliament approved a bill of quantities that did not include the vehicles. It was criminal on the part of, if I can start making my
why
contribution.
the Hansard doesn't capture the bill of quantities? Why? Why not? It should have captured it.
Okay, go on.
Hansard.
That's
Go
what
on,
I was
go on.
saying.
If I-
We had not finished.
Go on,
The
go
value
on.
for money audit
Yeah.
brings the details.
John, just hold on.
But that's after the agreement.
To start
has been
with,
approved.
my immediate feeling is that both the contractor and the principal officers of the Ministry of Energy have acted criminally, and they ought to be arrested immediately.
What?
The contractor?
Yes.
He has nothing to do with this.
Oh, if you can let me
Let's hear
explain.
you, let's hear
Look,
you.
this contract, we have gone through the earlier details. There were two contracts. You see, it wasn't that one agreement was set aside. In these matters, you have the project agreement that will specify the nature of the project itself. And because it's being financed by the U.S. Exim Bank, you have a loan agreement. So these are the two contracts. In between the two, a value for money audit was commissioned, and that got ready sometime in September 2008. The value for audit, the value for money audit threw out the revelation that the project was overpriced by 120 million. So the then Kufuor administration and the contractor started negotiating that, look, we cannot pay this 120. There was a change of government subsequently, and the Mills administration came. And then sometime in the middle of 2009, they could have resolved that because of the overcharge, we are no more interested in this contract. The government could have made that decision and requested the U.S. government
had approved.
And why not?
And signed.
Yes.
And signed on.
You don't know the standing orders of parliament. I'm
After
saying
the-
There's an extension between the contract.
Conclude on that point. Conclude on that
I'm
point
saying
in a
that
minute.
once,
Conclude on that point.
because the loan agreement had as condition precedent a parliamentary approval and a mutually agreed conclusion on the results of the value for money audit, until these were concluded, the agreement couldn't have been effective. If you can, what I'm saying,
to court and charges.
let me come to the meat of the matter.
Simple MOUs.
Time is running out on you, so do it quickly.
The meat of the matter is that after the government signed the final agreement in the middle of 2009, they didn't reject the contractor. All they said was that, okay, we will renegotiate. And so they renegotiated. Instead of the 120, they said, it's okay, give us a discount of 46 million. That 46 million was not given. What they did was that it was because of that they increased the Kintampo addition. Now, why do I say that both the contractor and the Ministry of Energy acted criminally? You see, the entire contract sum, 350 million, plus an additional 46 million, which people don't mention. There was 350 million, of which 15% was to come from us counterpart funding, 85% from the U.S. Exim Bank. In addition, there was another 47 million. We paid all that money to the contractor. All that money was paid to the contractor.
Okay, just 1 minute. Hold on. Just 1 minute. I understand that we are going off on radio in the next 40 seconds or so, but we have some 5 minutes to nicely wrap up on this. So take it easy.
Okay.
Right.
So when the money was handed to the contractor, he had clear terms of reference. And this is where the bill of quantities that was attached to the contract Parliament approved mattered. So when the Ministry of Energy approached the contractor illegitimately and said, can you use part of the project money to procure some vehicles for us, including luxury vehicles, the contractor should have told the Ministry of Energy.
They did not procure for the ministry. They procured the vehicles for the project.
Let me read to you.
It's simple as
You're just being mysterious. Let me read that portion that said it was a contractor that procured.
Okay, let's use the 2 minutes to
you see, if you allow me, let me tell you. It is this document. It is a report. What is this?
Okay, you go on.
What I'm saying is that the Ministry of Energy then approached the contractor and said, procure for us. So all the vehicles we are talking about were procured by the contractor and then handed over to the ministry. My question is, why did the contractor agree to do that when it was not part of the bill of quantities? It was criminal. They should have told them that, look, we can't do this because if we don't deliver on the terms of the contract, we will be liable. But somehow they also agreed criminally, and then the ministry took these vehicles. And where are they? We are told that somehow with the Ministry of Finance. Where are the luxury vehicles? So the question is, when Parliament approves and there's an attached bill of quantities, the loan amount has been given to the contractor. What kind of communication happened between the ministry and the contractor that allowed the contractor to now buy vehicles, including luxury ones, and hand them over to the ministry? That is a criminal question for which I think the
interesting point. But Dr. Akwete, the auditors, do you agree with them? They say these kinds of cars are luxurious, too expensive, and we should not have been getting into them. We understand that we are supposed to be buying American cars. Is that not?
There's no Toyota in America.
No. My interest is the Lexus. Is it an American made?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an American made.
But we don't have Toyota in America.
But America doesn't only make Lexus.
Okay.
It's more of a Japanese thing.
So you could have gone for a Dodge.
Yeah, because my understanding is that it's a Japanese. It's a Japanese model.
No, it's an American.
Lexus is part of the Toyota range, the Land Cruiser range and so on.
But it's made in America.
It's made
okay,
for American market.
So what do you say? What do you say about what the auditors have said about this? And even there's a final point where the auditors make a certain categorical pronouncement. Again, they take it out on Parliament. They say we recommend that Parliament should take strong exceptions to ministries, departments, and agencies that acquire assets with project funds under international contracts, for which those assets were not originally included in project budgets and or did not seek parliamentary approval.
You see, this is...
Yes,
well, I think we're back to what we've been discussing. If this is a project you're managing and in direct relations with the partner, those investing and so on, and they check your accounts, they might tell you this is ineligible. Okay, and they want you to refund their money.
Right.
With this loan and government involvement, it works differently. So I can't comment authoritatively on that, but definitely, if it is not part of the project, okay,
because it was an existing rural electrification scheme.
Yes, if it's not part of the project and you have done it, they would ask you to refund the money or they will freeze the loan. So it also depends on the point at which it was detected. But clearly, it's not in the project. You spend project money, you have to get it back, or they would cancel the loan. In some cases, they'll take that strict decision. What for me interests me is this one can be dealt with, usually is dealt with administratively by whoever is giving you the money. But the allusion that something criminal has been occurred, I'm not sure. What I thought we should do as part of the practice is that if there is criminality, let it be established by the agencies, okay, trained to do that. I want, for instance, CID or somebody going to investigate.
Well, sometimes they need us to alert them.
Yes, so why don't you take, you see, in the interest of fighting corruption and various other practices, why don't you formally lodge a complaint then? You know, so that, because sometimes to get the system working, you know, it takes certain actions. And I think otherwise we can't establish criminality between the two of them, you know, and I thought that this would be a fine case to write to the police and let them get in, because it's a very important.
Okay.
Parliament is not an investigation.
So, I mean, 30 seconds,
yes,
your very final
comments. Key
comments.
recommendation that the Auditor General makes. And that is where I was trying to push in. You see, the Auditor General says a lot. Projects, and it would then appear that there's been a pattern where out of projects, people purchase vehicles and purchase, assuming without admitting that we didn't purchase so-called luxury vehicles, and we purchased only Toyota Hilux.
It will still be wrong.
That is
still criminal. It will still be criminal.
It has to be in the project if you're going to purchase vehicles.
And that is where I am coming from. That what is the principle? The principle for me is much more important than, because it's out of the principle that you have some of these challenges. That when you are going to Parliament must insist that this, if we say contingency of 17 million, what is that supposed to be for? Can you use that to buy a photocopier? Can you use that to buy a vehicle? Finally, yes. Yes, finally.
Can you buy vehicles?
When the approval was given, there was a value for money audit. Out of the value for money audit, the communities were increased from about 1,200
that is
to
again
2,000.
Right.
It's not following. It's not true.
The report.
Why is it misleading? The report explains why.
Just hold on. You have your final comments. 30 seconds.
But I think that we should be a bit more.
Okay, your 30 seconds is running into 2 minutes. So okay, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Just to what I'm saying, that if communities were increased, even assuming that you needed 10 vehicles and the communities increased, certainly you would need more to monitor that, because the aspect of monitoring, the aspect of following up is as important as the loan itself.
Thank you very much.
Two things.
Yes, 30 seconds, Kweku.
We go to paragraph 51.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
You finish. You finish. Yeah.
We go to paragraph 51. It explains why the communities increased. The 1,075 were notes. As they moved on, they came across small cottages on the way. Now, it is unfortunate the consultants engaged by the Ministry of Energy to supply the project are not doing their work, and they say they are not reporting on site. If they were, they are making savings as they move along, And they said they use these savings to just extend low tension poles to the communities as they bypass them. And in spite of that, we should be making savings. So this rhetoric about the increase the community, as though it was a deliberate attempt.
Thank you, Kweku. Thank you, Kweku. Yes, 30 seconds. Yes. Sorry, gentlemen, we have. Sorry. Yes, Kweku.
What is the lie here?
Please, you've had yours. Yes, Kweku.
First of all, if you go to the Hansard, the agreement that was approved, the committee's report, going under paragraph 4 observations, the committee observed that the self-help electrification project, SHIP 4, is to benefit 2,500 communities all over the country. This was what Parliament approved.
Okay.
But please, no, just a little more.
Right.
Kweku appears to have misunderstood the point I made. There were two agreements. There was an earlier one that was rescinded. And this is what the Hansard, the chairman of the committee, was saying, if you permit me. He says, Mr. Speaker, this decision has been arrived at because basically the first loan was not sourced. It was eventually decided that a revision of the terms of the agreement be revised. Hence, the need to rescind this agreement and present to you a fresh one, which was the one approved 15 August 2008. A final one, Mr. Ada, the former energy minister, makes this point, and that's why, again, I have a little difference with Kweku's position. He says, whereas project funds are typically used to buy utility vehicles for the project's implementation, it is never the practice to identify the brand of vehicle and specification of those vehicles in credit arrangements, and certainly not luxury cars as procured by the Ministry of Energy for the U.S. Exim-Bank assisted rural electrification project.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Please, sorry. John, sorry. Gentlemen, sorry.
When we identify some of the
Gentlemen, don't do this. Sorry. John, sorry. Thank you very much. And sorry, I'm unable to read all the messages that you have brought in. I can read just one and then we go. This one from Kojo says that, why did the NPP sole source the contract? Why does KT Hammond, former Deputy Energy Minister, insist that purchasing vehicles which are not listed on the bill of quantities sent to for parliamentary approval is a normal practice?
Yeah, it's a practice.
A Lexus is a Japanese car, not an American car, where we understand that they are sold in America, assembled there. Why would the bank insist on that particular model? A Chrysler for rural electrification, really? Why must the minister and his officials need different vehicles for every different project they are involved in? And the deputy minister doesn't see the fuss. Where are the cars? That's the very last question.
Very, very important.
That's the very last question. And my outfit is provided by Latida 020-433-6444.
Something very, very important. The sole sourcing, this contract, this is 13th August 2009. And this is signed by Mr. A.B.I.G. It is a letter from Otinaji to the Public Procurement Board for sole sourcing. If you permit, I'll read.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the sole sourcing.
No. The contract itself, you see, the credit agreement, those Exim Bank things, they come with sole sourcing.
Okay,
as
thank
a complement.
I think that's enough.
That's
enough.
But you have to get approval from the public board.
Jr., editor-in-chief of the New Criminality newspaper. Kweku Kwating, MP for Obuasi West, and he's also on the Finance Committee of Parliament. John Junapo is Deputy Minister for Power. And Dr. Emmanuel Akwete is with IDEC. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. The show is repeated at 9:30 p.m. on this platform.